Hi everyone! Hello, hello! Happy weekend to you wherever you are. So, as you can probably detect, it is a sunny day right now, and here's what we are sharing with you. Taking in the sun in case you're in a location where you're in the middle of winter, which my family is in New York right now, so they certainly are. And out for a midday walk, and I wanted to share the moments because yesterday I made a post on Instagram about making the most of your life even when you don't feel like it, and even when you feel low or like you aren't good enough or like the time is not right yet. Many times we hold ourselves back from doing the things we want to do because we don't have enough money, or we're just not looking good enough yet, or we haven't lost the weight, or we didn't reach a certain milestone, like we don't have the new job title or the position, or we're not in the location where we want to be physically, geographically, or we haven't met the right person, or we just are waiting to go to the zoo or the museum or the beach or travel to those countries you want to visit, in a few years when you'll retire, or when whatever, I don't know, you get your job. There's always something, there's always a reason, and we delay these big projects, things that are meaningful to us, because they feel more perhaps bigger to tackle. Maybe they feel more overwhelming and they require more investment from your side. And so we settle for small wins. We go for the small, easy pleasures that we can access, like simple foods, easy, cheap, tasty, delicious, highly palatable foods, or we might just indulge in binging on TV shows or watching a movie marathon. Typically things like that. They could be behaviors like smoking or drinking or other kinds of addictive, unbeneficial, and even harmful types of behaviors. Not everyone, but it can often lead to that. When we don't have that pleasure and gratification from the meaningful parts of life, we then seek to replace that, to calm our nervous system and to get that dopamine hit through other channels and pathways that are more easy to access for us. And it depends on our environment. So I wanted to make this video to share the location where I'm at right now, and to also boost up my own moment, because I was feeling kind of blasé about it. And to be honest, I was upset because my weight was a little bit higher today on the scale, which is not like tremendously higher than what it usually is. It usually goes up by half a pound, sometimes 1 pound, if I had more starchy carbs the night before. Maximum it's been 2 pounds, and then it takes like about a couple of days for it to go back down again. It could take 2 days or 3 days. It depends how strict I am with my own diet, or with my own nutrition, and just sticking to my own healthy foods, or quote unquote safe foods. And I think that if you're someone who's health conscious and you just take a lot of care with your nutrition and what you put in your body, then you'll know what your safe foods are, and then which foods tend to spike your weight, which ones affect your sleep, which ones maybe cause breakouts or make you feel bloated or cause water retention. And I wanted to share that message as well with you about being upset about half a pound weight gain, because it's not just me. I know that whatever I feel it hurts, it's because it hurts me, but also I'm a human, and like me, there are millions and billions of other humans around the planet, and we all share the same collective types of emotions and experiences. Even if we have our own unique lives and circumstances, and there's no one quite like us, however, there's nothing new under the sun in terms of what you're feeling, what you're going through, what you've lived through. Everyone in existence has at one point lived through someone, not everyone has lived the same things, but someone out there has already lived what you're living through and what you're feeling. So for instance, I'm feeling upset about this minor weight gain, and maybe someone listening to this will be upset about that as well. And in case that's you, or in case you know someone who that is the case for, some of the reasons why these types of fluctuations happen with the weight scale, it can be due to various factors. It doesn't mean that you're getting fat, and it doesn't mean that you're losing control and going to continue gaining weight. Actually, it has more to do with your usual trend. Hi, baby. It has to do more with your usual trends, the type of food you've been eating over the long term. It can take even 1 year for someone to have these subtle but gradual incremental weight gains that actually can be a little bit more permanent. But when you see that these fluctuations happen on a regular basis from week to week and month to month, it can be due to various factors that are very normal and human, and that will pop up for anyone week to week and month to month. And that can be, for instance, if you didn't sleep well enough last night, then usually if you have less hours of sleep, your body had less time to kind of process the nutrition, the food and the drinks that you had the night before, and to reset. That often happens to be the case with me too. Also, you might have slept plenty of hours, but the quality of sleep was not quite there. It was suboptimal, and you know it because you sort of maybe had intermittent waking in the evening, or you just know that it wasn't deep and lasting the way that it could be when you have a really awesome night of sleep. So sleep quality and sleep length is a big factor in our weight the next day and even through the week. Also, if you had a lot of starchy carbohydrates the night before, because they will cause just simply more water retention, because your liver will be holding on to the glycogen. They'll be storing more glycogen in your liver cells, because that's the natural chemistry and function of how carbohydrates are broken down and processed in the body once they've been ingested. So just bear that in mind, that if that is the case, if you're a vegan, for instance, you will generally be consuming a lot more carbohydrates, and hence that will include the potatoes, the rice, the beans, bread, maybe pasta. Not that I consume all of those, but those are just typical types of starch foods. They're not bad. They're actually extremely nutritious and beneficial. The grains like oatmeal and barley and rye and buckwheat, and there's rice pilaf and bulgur wheat and couscous and semolina, and so many types of grains out there. And so those all cause water retention, and they actually cause glycogen storage in the liver. So that will be a little bit extra weight that you will hold on to, just a couple of extra ounces, depending on the quantity that was consumed in the evening or the day before. Also, your body might be inflamed due to exercise. If you've been exercising consistently, or if you had a very intense exercise day the day before, your muscles, your whole body would be physically inflamed due to the chemical processes, the physiological processing of the injury done to the muscles. Because when you strain your muscles, you're working them out, you want to build a muscle, but the way that happens is by tearing the muscle fibers. So when that happens, that's the natural process of being inflamed, because your muscles have been torn and now they have to rest and be regenerated. And that comes through time and rest, and also proper nutrition, feeding those new muscle fibers so that they have the sufficient kind of amino acids for them to rebuild and reconstitute and even grow in new ways, which is when you see that muscular growth and more development and more and even more definition. However, the muscle definition will come more when you're shedding the fat and you have the opportunity to reveal more of how those muscular striations are looking in your body. So those could be some of the factors. Also stress. Stress is a big characteristic that can influence someone's fluctuations on the weight scale. If you've been especially stressed with work, worried, tense, or maybe you don't have work, you're also worried and tense about the future, about the uncertainty. Maybe there are problems with your family or at home or with people you care about, or you just are a generally anxious person, then those types of things can cause this sort of shock to your nervous system, and that can stimulate as well a extra boost of cortisol in your body, which is the stress hormone, and that can also lead to a little bit more of this sensation of water retention, and which can then you can then think it's weight gain, but it's actually not. It's just that combination of water retention and also bodily inflammation. So bear those factors in mind. Also, another critical factor is whether you've gone to the bathroom to have a bowel movement, because when you haven't gone yet, then you're still retaining that extra mass from the foods you've eaten recently. So if you haven't had a good bowel movement in the day yet, that is another aspect of why your weight would be a tad higher than you would think it should be, especially if you've been, eating well or being good, or just following your plan, or you feel like you should actually be weighing less, but then all of these factors kind of combine. And also for women, it's their menstruation cycles. Their menstruation cycles also affect a lot. Many women report that their weight can go up by 5 or even 10 pounds when they have their cycle, and that's due to water retention and the body going through its own natural hormonal shifts and dealing with the just the elimination phase during those days and during that week and part of the month. So that will also affect, for women in particular, our weight. But overall, the factors that I've highlighted so far, those are generally true for both men and women. And especially as we're all facing times of uncertainty in our life, maybe not right now for you, but it comes, it happens eventually, then it passes. But it's just a matter of how we're coping with that. And one thing that can very significantly impact your quality of sleep is whether you are sensitive to caffeine. So if you've been having regular caffeinated coffee and black caffeinated teas, like regular green tea, regular black tea, then those will have caffeine. And if you have a sensitive nervous system, which I'm convinced that the majority of us humans do, even those who say that they're really tolerant to caffeine, I really believe that the caffeine will affect our nervous system anyway, no matter how well you process it or how efficiently you process the caffeine molecule in your body. So those chemicals are incredibly strong and powerful, and they can stay in the system even 12 hours later, especially if you're a slow metabolizer of caffeine. So that can disrupt your sleep, which can then affect your weight. And caffeine, as much as they say it's an appetite suppressant and that it can amp up your metabolism, and indeed a lot of these fat burning supplements that you might see at the pharmacy and that are out on the market for people who want to do that quick weight loss approach, they actually just have a lot of caffeine. And they have guarana, which is also a type of caffeine substrate. So it functions with that same intention and purpose to just keep your heart rate up and keep you more amped up. So that can have an incredibly damaging effect on our sleep. And I only mention these because it's something that I've had to learn about and treat and manage, as much as I do like my teas. But I only have decaf green tea, and I do not drink black tea. And if I consume coffee, then it's decaf coffee, definitely, as much as I like the regular, much, naturally. But you just have to know what works for you and adapt yourself to those situations, and work with your circumstances and with your own human nature and preferences. And so I just wanted to touch on that. So just bear in mind that when your weight goes up and you feel really upset and you're confused and you're just like, WTF, why am I doing the right things and I'm not getting the right results? Well, that could be due to a couple of other things, like maybe you're not being as good as you think. Maybe you're consuming more than you actually think you are, or want to think you are, want to believe that you're eating, because we generally, dieters, they underreport. In fact, as much as we want to be good, it's really tough to truly be adherent to your plan. So just be true with be honest and be real with yourself. How well have you been eating? Is it true? What did you eat yesterday, last night? Did it have a lot more carbs than usual? Did you finish eating late? Because it's still then more recent in your system. And that can also cause you to still have that weight measure a little bit higher than you would like. And that's just a real practical, real factor that can impact. And I mention these things and I share them with you because maybe that can help bring some peace to you in knowing that it's not that you're getting fat or that now you're losing control and that things are getting out of hand, or it sucks, and I know you want to stay in control of things and see what you want to see. You want to see that result, now, I want to keep it the same every day. I want what I want. But what can you do? This is your body, and we can't really, you can't really fix the body. It knows what it has to do, and it does what it has to do, and it knows better than we do in our own human mind about how it should process biologically the food, the drink, the sleep, the stress, the hormones. It's just phenomenal, and how remarkably and extraordinarily genius and intelligent our body innately is. So we just have to let it do what it does. And then from our side, when we make choices, when you choose your food, choose the best that you can. You continue to make your appropriate choices that are within reason, but also don't kill yourself, because it's not about dieting. It's about eating the beneficial, health-promoting foods that work for you, that are good for you, that are wholesome for you. Not because they're vegan, not because they're paleo, not because it's keto, not because such and such person is doing it or an influencer is doing it, but because you've done your own research and this is what you believe in your heart and mind, that, hey, this is what's right for me, so this is what I'm choosing. And yes, there will be these other, quote unquote fun foods or treat foods, but how often you have them and how much you consume of them, well, that's up to your discretion. And that can really be the make it or break it factor in how our weight goes in the long term. Because I can tell you, when I started to have more animal protein, things really changed for me, and I did see that my muscles were getting more developed, but it scared me to see that extra little weight gain, and I didn't like it. And that's me. And I'm just being honest and leaving that out there in full disclosure. And so we just have to be true to ourselves and acknowledge, this works for me, this didn't work for me. And if you want to keep going in that direction, then okay, do it. That could have worked for someone where they say, oh, I love this, I want to keep gaining mass, I want to keep getting bigger and stronger. And boosting my performance in the gym. Someone could have said that, but that was not me. That someone was not me. But maybe it's not you either. And so just assess what works with your own lifestyle. And then keep these factors that I've mentioned in mind moving forward for the next moments that you weigh yourself. And when it does go up on the scale, which it will, that's what happens. If you look into other health coaches and when they share like how they monitor their clients who are successful in their weight loss journeys, they'll show there will be increases, sometimes 2 days in a row, maybe even 3, and then they'll have a dip, then it'll go down. So it's like you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you just have to look at the trend. Look at the general direction in which you are going, like a ship that's setting its course on the water. What is the direction of your ship? Because you are the captain of that vessel. And just keep going, keep with it. I mean, if your weight goes up by 2 pounds or 3 pounds, it could be due to water retention from a high sodium meal that you had yesterday. Sodium can pack on a lot of water in the cells, so you just have to flush it out, let your body flush it out naturally. Drink your water. If you want, put some lemon or lime in your water to help kind of cleanse the system. If you have access to a sauna, you can do sauna, or you can go running if that makes you sweat, or you can just walk it out. Go for a nice 30 or 60 minute walk. And just remember that high sodium foods will cause more weight retention. Yeah, I think I've highlighted enough points in this video for now. If you have any others that you know of that you want to add, you can leave them in the comments and you can share them with me, because it's always good to know what you've known to be, in your case, reasons for the weight going up. But then it comes down, it might take 2 days, it might take 3 days, or it might just happen between today and tomorrow you're back on track. You never know. It just depends on how you perform today. It depends what you eat and drink today, how you move, how you sleep tonight, your stress levels. And finally, it's really important, just learn to bring more peace to yourself. That's something that I've had to learn and continue to practice and implement for myself, as much as it's not easy. But acceptance, acceptance, even if it's with some sadness. And just remind yourself, even if you don't believe it, that your self-worth is not determined by the number on the scale, and it's not determined by how good you look or bad you look in comparison to anyone else, because comparison is the thief of joy. And whenever we compare, we destroy our moment of happiness. So just follow your course, walk your path, do you, and let others do for them. And it'll be so much better for us. You'll have a much happier life if you can really continue to live that way forever. So try to release this comparison to others and run your own race, and try to bring in some more kindness and acceptance and compassion in your day to day. And if you need to let the emotions out, that's okay too. Maybe you can write about it or journal, and know that this day will pass, or these moments will pass, and you'll have even happier moments. And it will not have anything to do with your weight, because your weight is only a number, and you are far more than what you look like. And in our heart, somewhere down there, we know that's true. So I hope that we can take these lessons to heart and be open to having more peace in our soul, in our spirit, in our mind, because you deserve to be happy and not let your day or days in life be ruined by a stupid number on a device. Okay? And finally, some people even break their scale or give it away because it's just too disruptive and destructive to their happiness. And that might be you. And there's nothing wrong with giving the scale away, letting it go, and being free. Trusting yourself. That's a key. Learning to trust yourself. So that's it, friends. Be kind to yourself. Learn to trust yourself. And remember that it's not that you're losing control or going off the rails. It's just that our body has to do its thing, and we can't control everything. And we have to release that need to control it all and do what you can, and then live this day to the fullest. Okay? So to circle back to the original point, don't hold yourself back. Live this day to the fullest, even though you're not maybe looking the way you want to, or weigh what you want to, or not dating someone, or you're this or that, or you feel like you're too old, or you're too young, or not rich enough. It doesn't matter. Just do it, because it's just your life. And people will think whatever they want to think. And people who have your back will have your back. And those who don't, well, they're not really in your circle. They're just there. We're all a community in the world. And so just keep going, because you might have a lot of light to bring into the world and to share it. So just live for your own happiness, and it will radiate to others, and it will definitely improve and help the world. That's it for now from Jen at Personal Power Wellness, and thank you for having come on this marvelous walk, and let's continue to have a great and beautiful, bountiful, radiant day. Bye for now.